On May 17th, a homicide warrant was issued for Kaitlin Armstrong. On May 18th, the Austin Police Department requested the assistance from the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force to locate and apprehend Kaitlin Armstrong, 34, who was a resident in Austin and was last known to reside in the 5300 block of Fort Clark Drive here in Austin. The Lone Star Fugitive Task Force learned during the investigation that Armstrong fled the Austin area on May 14th at approximately 12:30 p.m. when she boarded a flight from Austin Bergstrom International Airport to Hobby Airport in Houston, Texas, and then got a connecting flight to New York LaGuardia Airport. The Lone Star Fugitive Task Force contacted the United States Attorney's Office in the Western District of Texas here in the Austin Division to obtain a warrant on Armstrong for an unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, when it was evident on video surveillance and boarding passes that Armstrong had fled the Austin area days after being interviewed by Austin authorities. Members of the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force followed up that investigation and contacted the U.S. Marshals New York, New Jersey Regional Fugitive Task Force and the U.S. Marshals in the Eastern District of Michigan to continue investigative efforts where interviews and surveillance were established. During an interview, it was learned through a confidential source that Armstrong was transported to the Newark International Airport in New Jersey, and at that time the direction of travel was unknown. On June 6th, the U.S. Marshal Service announced the case to be upgraded to major status. This upgraded status comes with additional funding, additional manpower, and specialized skills from individuals that work in a program that was developed in 1985 by the U.S. Marshal Service to assist the U.S. Marshals' top 10 fugitives that list the most violent criminals that hide in the shadows for an extended period of time. The Marshal Service posted a cash reward listed at $5,000 for tips leading to the arrest of Armstrong, followed by a $1,000 cash reward posted by the Austin Area Capital Crime Stoppers. An anonymous donor contacted the Austin Area Crime Stoppers and provided an additional $15,000 with a combination of $21,000 for tips leading to the information of Kaitlin Armstrong. As the fugitive investigation continued, investigators with the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force learned that Armstrong sold her black Jeep Grand Cherokee to a CarMax in South Austin, where she received a check for $12,200. On June 30th, the Marshal Service, announced that Homeland Security investigations discovered that Armstrong boarded a United flight from Newark International Airport on May 18th and arrived in San Jose, Costa Rica at approximately 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Armstrong boarded the flight and fled to international territory by presenting a passport that did not belong to her, but belonged to someone that was closely associated with her. U.S. Marshals International Operations immediately communicated with the Department of State Diplomatic Security Services and continued investigative efforts where communication was established with foreign officials in Costa Rica in pursuit of Armstrong after using a fraudulent passport. The U.S. Marshals Service deployed 2 United States Marshals to the U.S. Embassy in Costa Rica to assist the Department of State and foreign officials with intelligence on the possible whereabouts of Kaitlin Armstrong. During the investigation in Costa Rica, it was learned that Armstrong traveled to multiple destinations, to include San Jose, where she landed there at the airport, to Jaco Beach, and to Santa Teresa, Costa Rica. It was discovered Armstrong used different names, aliases, under the alias of Beth Martin, Liz, and Ari Martin, who she advised to uniformed officials at Don John's hostel in Costa Rica. Armstrong used these names at yoga studios and other lodging since her arrival in Costa Rica on May 18th. Officials involved in the investigation conducted old-fashioned law enforcement techniques, went door to door, conducted multiple interviews, going from yoga establishment to other yoga establishments, and also made contact with lodging venues that she had left behind, which then paved the way where Armstrong was detained by authorities at the Don John's hostel located in Santa Teresa Beach in Costa Rica. Armstrong was detained there in Costa Rica on the immigration violation for that fraudulent use of a passport. Armstrong was transported back to San Jose following a 6-hour drive from the hostel to San Jose, Costa Rica, where Armstrong eventually confessed to her true identity. Armstrong, according to foreign officials, Armstrong altered her physical appearance. She dyed her hair brown. She cropped her hair shorter to about shoulder length and had a bandage on her nose where she claimed it was from a surfboard incident just days before. The Department of State Diplomatic Security Services really contributed to the assistance of this apprehension. They are the long arm of the law, and they have the largest global reach of any U.S. federal agency, law enforcement agency, where they have 29 offices in U.S. cities and over 270 locations around the world. They are tasked with protecting the integrity of U.S. travel documents. The U.S. established diplomatic relations with Costa Rica in 1851. Armstrong was deported back to the U.S. by the United States Marshal Service, and on July 2nd, Armstrong arrived at the Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston, where she was received by the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force in Houston, where she was transported and booked into the Harris County Jail. I want to make it known that it's important to understand the type of difference between a deportation and an extradition. A deportation is more of an administrative function, and an extradition is an agreement amongst two countries, usually under provisions of a treaty or a statute. I'd like to also bring up the significance of the investigators on this case that stand here before me, that faced the challenge, wanted to be the difference, and became the difference when Kaitlin Armstrong was taken into custody by foreign officials in Costa Rica. We have 3 individuals here that were the leads in this investigation. Those are Deputy United States Marshal Emir Perez, Task Force Officer Jonathan Riley, Task Force Officer Mark McLeod. These individuals, along with many other individuals in the Marshal Service when this was upgraded to a major case, forfeited their leave, their weekends, and their holidays to contribute to closing a 43-day investigation of Kaitlin Armstrong, who was a fugitive from justice, fled not only Austin but the United States, and changed her physical appearance. Everything that the Marshal Service did in this particular case, and members of the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force, when everything was upgraded to a major case, really streamlined all the information in order to communicate with foreign nationals. And like I explained to everyone in the past, it's really a speed pass like at a theme park where you jump the lines because you have something imminent and it needs to be taken care of. But we also want to remember the victim in this case and hope this is the beginning stage of closure for the Wilson family.